Hi everyone. Hi everyone
Hello.
in
Hello.
LinkedIn
Hey,
and
hello.
YouTube. Hi Laura, Paolo, Josias, Gino. Thank you for joining us today. Well, hi guys. Greetings from Brazil. Greetings from everyone from Latin America, everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us today. There's a lot of people right now in LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So yeah, first introduction. So I'm Stephanie. I'm head of community here at Tekla, and this is our space of called remote room that we do lives every couple of weeks about the future of work, remote working, and everything in between. So today we're talking. It's like an ask me anything about it, working with U.S. company directly from Latin America. So that's why we invited Laura Cabello from Peru, Paolo from Brazil, and Josias from Brazil. And next to me is Gino, our CEO and founder of Tekla. Hi everyone.
Hey, Steph.
Hi.
Oh, everyone's a bit shy. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
It's Tuesday. Nice.
Happy to be
Almost
here.
Yeah,
Friday.
that's true. Well, closer than Monday.
So, yeah, please, guys, can you introduce a little bit about yourself? Can we start with Laura?
Yeah, sure. Hello, guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Laura Cabello. I'm a product designer from Lima, Peru, and I'm currently working full time remotely the home life. Again, as a product designer, it's like a mix between UX and UI. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to share my experience with you and to answer all your questions as much as possible. So, thank you for this space.
Awesome, Laura. Thank you so much. Can we get Paola on the spotlight?
Of course. It's a big pleasure to be with you today. And I'm just noticed that I'm the only one that doesn't have the surname here. I typed it, so it's my fault.
Keeping
And
it
my name is
casual.
Paulo. Yeah, totally. Like Beyonce or something. Only one name, right?
Sure.
Yeah, perfect. More iconic.
But yes, my name is Paulo Pouso. I'm a software engineer, currently working for Oak9. And yes, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a big pleasure. I'm I'm here for any questions that you have.
Awesome. Thank you, Paola. Please, just see us.
All right, that's me. Um, okay, I'm Josias. I'm from Brazil. I work as a software engineer remotely for almost a decade now. So it's been um, really great, like to be part of this growing market of remote work. And yeah, thanks for inviting me. Great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for your time and for taking the time actually to be here. Gina, can you introduce yourself a little bit for the new
Yeah,
people
I'm
connecting?
I'm Gino. I'm the founder at Tekla, and Steph and I are super excited to be hosting this remote room. And thank you so much, Laura, Paolo, Josias, for being here because we're very excited to be answering those questions that we've been getting from people in our community. And today we're over like 47,000 throughout Latin America. And so tons of questions from people that haven't gone through an interview process with US companies before or haven't worked directly with companies outside of their countries before. And so, it's going to be exciting to just hear a little more from each person's perspective. There's no right or wrong answers. Just want to hear from the people that are doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, let's jump
Cool.
jump right in. So we have a few questions, but still the chats are open. So if you guys can, like the people that are watching, you want to ask anything, you can do it from the LinkedIn channel or the YouTube channel. Remember, you have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel to actually comment any question you want. So yeah, just hit the red button and you're subscribed. It's free. It's easy and that's it. So my first question for everyone is like, how has your experience been working for remotely for U.S.-based company or Canadian companies? And would you guys recommend it, like from your personal experience? Anyone can jump in, but I want to hear you all.
Mhm.
Okay, I can go
Cool.
first.
Oh,
Um, yeah, for me, it's been um, a life changing decision to do that like 7 years ago, I guess, 2015. I was working remotely for a company from Rio, and then I just decided to interview with the company without like really knowing English really well. I just saw like this blog post about some technology. It was like Rails and React, and the guy was saying, "Yeah, if you like this technology, come work with us." And I thought, "Yeah, why not?" So I just decided to schedule an interview, and so it wasn't like this decision that I was preparing myself to.
mm-hmm.
It was more like, yeah, why
Do it.
not? And I decided to do it, and I had no idea was what I was like going into, but I never looked back. It's like a huge difference working for um, working in a local office or working remotely for companies like from the US or any other countries. So yeah, my experience has been really great so far, and I don't plan to change that anytime soon.
Awesome. That's a good testimonial. What
Did
about you,
they
Paula?
did they reach out to
Well,
you, just yes, or did you find the opportunity somewhere, or did a recruiter from that company reach out to you, or you just found it on a job board or something like
Uh, in this first opportunity, I reached out to them,
You saw it or
but
not?
yeah, I think every other company I had like a recruiter reaching out to me or someone from the company itself through LinkedIn mostly. Um, so yeah.
that? Nice, nice, awesome, awesome. Paolo.
in my case, it's 1 year that then since I started at Oak Nine, and but before that, I did not work a lot remotely. I worked always presentially in the
In
companies,
office.
and that, yes, in the office, and that was not a thing that I would think, because I think that a lot the companies did not have this culture here. That was not really a thing here. Like Josias worked for a company in Rio, and I heard about some people that would work remotely, but it was not the standard here. It's, I think for a lot of people it was not, but it was not really common here. But
Where are
when
you
pandemic
from
is
inside Brazil?
São Paulo.
Oh, from Sao Paulo. Okay.
Yes, and when pandemic started, I worked in a company where I went to the office every day, and we had to learn very quickly, like from one day to another, how to work remotely, because we had to do that, and we were a travel company, so it was, everything was very quick. So we started to, and the culture of the company had to change, the process, a lot of stuff
Yep.
changed there, and it was great. People knew that we got very productive with that. It was great. And after that, what happened is, I think that other companies in other countries started to, they used it to do like that before, but it increased a lot. Remote work, I think that a lot of companies that would not work remotely started to see that it would be good, and a lot of professionals prefer that. So it was like that. I was on LinkedIn, and someone from Tekla reached out, and it was Maripaz, I think, and well, that it
Nice.
was
Shout
great.
out
It
to
participated,
Maripaz.
Yeah.
yes, I participated in some processes, and I before that, and because of other reasons, sometimes because of
Hmm.
time zones or because of other reasons, I did not accept others. But in this case, everything was very interesting for me, and I accepted it. For me,
And
it's been great since then.
and the company that you work at, Paolo and Josias, your companies are very remote in the US, like globally very remote, distributed, or have they gone back to the office wherever they're headquartered?
they have an office, but people go there every week, but not every day, and they are not obliged to go. It's something like people gather there, and
Yeah, it's not
Right.
so
Yeah.
compulsory.
they. Yes, yes. I think that's great when you have the options to go to the office, and it's good to see your teammates when you have the chance. But when you can work from home, when you have this option, I think that's it's better, and it's good when the company has this culture, so you don't have problems with the process. That's great.
Yeah, in my case, the company has an office in Chicago, and but they are really distributed across the United States and Latin America. But then when the pandemic started, they went all work from home and pretty much never came back. Just like the office is there, but they're like closing it this month because no one was going to the office.
Nice.
Uh, so yeah, we're now fully remote, I guess.
That's
Nice.
Mine is
nice.
Nice.
Chicago too. Mine is also
Oh,
Chicago.
cool.
Yeah. So
Oh.
you guys can take a you can all take a trip to Chicago.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
meet
Why
up.
not?
In the
What about
summer, yeah.
Laura? Laura, let us know your.
Good, good. Well, my case, homeland is in San Francisco, so yeah, I share the same ideas as you guys. First of all, I think that I would recommend it in 100%. I think I consider that decision as one of the best decisions in my life. And well, at the beginning, I know that maybe working or this idea of working remotely for a US-based company may sound kind of surreal. It was
Mhm.
surreal for me at the beginning, especially at that point of my career. I remember that 2 years ago, I was finishing college, and I think that I had almost 3 years of experience working in UX. So it was like, okay, this is the right moment. This is the right opportunity. So let's take it. And another thing is that um, you're not going to be alone. I mean, I think that I've never seen so many opportunities now as before. And there are more and more people that are very open to share their experiences and their knowledge on how to apply to these jobs. So yeah, I think that Homelight is also one of the best places I ever worked for. So I'm very happy for taking this challenge.
And they're very distributed too, right? I mean, Homelight has
Ooh.
teams in many different countries, I think, right?
Yeah, actually, 1 month ago or a couple of months ago, we celebrated that we were 50 workers from Latam. And we're a huge Latin community there. And yeah, and actually, we're planning to have this congress during this year in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I mean, the space is there. So it's
Yeah.
very happy that we can know each other.
We'll go in your place to Las Vegas for you.
I
Anytime.
hope.
Okay, so yeah, let's keep diving in the question. Do you want to make the next one? You know.
Yes, definitely. I think one of the questions we hear a lot from our community is what are the differences in the interviewing process with a US company versus maybe companies you worked at in Brazil and Peru and in Latam before? And just in your own perspective, like what did you notice any big difference? Anything really that different? And yeah, we can go the same order, I guess. Or no, let's go backwards. Laura can start us and then we'll
Or
go.
maybe in the whole selection process, not only the interviews, like everything, if you've
Mhm.
Sure, yeah,
noticed.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that my interview process was quite long, actually. But I consider that as a green flag because I think that the more interviews you have, I was feeling that the more confidence I could generate. And also, there are many points in common. I mean, you always have this interview with the manager, with the product owner. But one aspect I really liked was that the design team was also involved. We had this whiteboard challenge. It's like a design challenge, and they evaluated how you take decision. How do you take your decisions between the team? How do you interact and talk to the other members? So I really enjoyed that dynamic. I think it took almost 1 hour. And if we compare that process to how I applied jobs here in Peru, yeah, it was like more like a one-to-one, and I didn't feel I had this kind of sense as a group. But in Homelight, I felt that. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And the onboarding process, I think it was the best onboarding process at Homelight I ever had. And usually it was me who was like scheduling all the meetings to know the team, to know the process, to know the different tools in the enterprise. But my first day, I saw my calendar and it was full of meetings. And yeah, it was like, oh my God, everything is so established right now. So I don't need to go pursuing people. And yeah, I really like that part.
Like knocking doors in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, to who I can ask this thing? Please help. Okay, that's part of the past now.
That's really good. That's really good for your company that they have such a good onboarding process.
Yeah, especially.
What about you?
Mhm.
Yeah, especially remote, definitely. What about you, Paolo? What differences did you notice in the selection and interviewing?
Well, about the onboarding, I feel the same. I don't know if this is an American process thing or about remote thing. I really don't know, but it was great because first day I had one-on-ones, I had meet and greets, etc. And for me, that's great. So I could meet the team, I could participate on the stand-ups, so I would know right away what would be my first tasks, etc. That was great for me. But in the interview process, I saw some differences when I entered Oak 9 because, well, I think that the process with Tekla was good because it was very direct. You know, we could talk. They could see if I was a good fit for one of the clients. So I would talk to the client. I talked to the HR. I talked to the technical people of the company, and it was very direct. It was like they wanted to know about my experience. They wanted to know if I liked what they do, of course, and if I would be a good fit. So it was direct. But I don't know if in this part I really can't attribute this for an American company because I have talked to other companies that had long processes. Not only the HR companies, but also the companies themselves, like big tests, etc. I don't think this is totally bad to have tests, but sometimes the process is too long, and sometimes people lose interest be- before the end of the process.
Definitely.
That's really true. Like long process can have their perks, but I think most, I don't know, the most thing is like you need to know what's gonna be the process. I think that's
Yeah.
the
That
point
helps
where
a lot. Yeah,
when
it
people.
helps a lot to know beforehand for sure. What about the English?
Yeah.
Like, were you guys nervous at all going into the first interview, knowing that you'd be speaking to a bunch of people just in English? Did that play any factor? Or
In my first interviews, I would say so. I would say that yes, but after that, I got a little kind of used and like,
Yeah.
okay, I know that I will commit mistakes, and that's human, right?
Mhm.
So
Definitely, definitely. One of the things we tell people the most is just speak with whatever level you have. Just make your point come across, and even if you make mistakes, like the important thing is that we get the point and the ideas across, and that gives us some more confidence when we're speaking another language. So, Laura, what about you? Was that your first
Yeah.
interview process in only in English?
Yeah, well, it was my second actually, but the first one was a long time ago for a Brazilian company, but the process was in English too. But we had Portuñol to solve any problem there, but not in this time. And actually, I think that was one of my big mistakes that I became really, really obsessed with English, with this idea of trying to sound perfect with perfect accent. And at the end, I was feeling like, hey, I'm losing. Um, how my ideas sound, or if they sound natural, or if they sound like, I don't know, like if I was reading a script, and I didn't want that. But yeah, at the end, I think that you're gonna get the confidence to say, "Hey, I just forget how to say this word in English. Just give me 10 seconds to go to Google and search for that word." And yeah, that's part of the process, I think. And now I feel like it's becoming even more and more natural. Um, yeah,
With
that's
that in
part of
Definitely.
it.
mind,
Yeah.
I had a question like that can englobe everything in that side. Do you guys have any tips that you want to share with other candidates that are applying right now for remote jobs, for international companies, for companies in the US or Canada or even Europe, but they're gonna do everything in English? And I don't know, you guys have, maybe you want that advice in that moment and now you can share it.
Yeah, yeah, and we
Yeah.
can start with Josias, and tell us too, if, Josias, if you saw any major differences too in your process.
Um, I think the main difference was about education. Companies that I interviewed in Brazil were much more interested in what degree I had or didn't have in my case. So, what sort of level of education, college degree. And in all these years, I was never asked about do you have a degree for like US companies. It's more like uh, what do you do? What do you know? What's your background? And what can you like add to the company? So I think that that is like the main difference I've seen. So and about the like interviewing in English, I think especially Brazilian companies, that's all I can talk about. They are much more picky with your English level. Like if you like construct a sentence in a different way, or like you forgot to add some like part of some article to a phrase, they go like, yeah, your English is not that good. And at the same time, when you're interviewing like with uh, especially with people that are native speakers, they just don't care. I mean, uh, if they can understand you, that's the whole. That's the point. That what they want to hear. And if you are working on a project and you can be clear about what you're working on and what you're gonna do, and if you can understand what you need to do and how to like articulate your ideas or express yourself, that's good enough. You don't have to be like an English teacher or anything close to that.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, in my first interview, I really had no idea if the other person was understanding me. So it was like, yeah, I never did that. So how can I be sure if, I
If you
mean,
are
yeah,
getting what I'm
he's
saying,
agreeing
yeah.
with me, so I hope he's understanding me. But yeah, with time you get more like, of course you need to study English, you need to get better, you need to improve your communication. And that's not only like grammar, this is about how you can articulate your ideas, or how can you go from point A to point B and just create like it's more, maybe more about like storytelling than English skills. So I think communication is a huge factor, and English, of course, it is a factor, but it's like not you need to have like this starting point, and if you get to that point, you can talk to about anyone with more or less errors. Um, but like before that you cannot really speak, but after that you can be sure that people are going to understand you. and this makes you feel like just more confident. And in an interview, this is like half of the process. um, like if you are not confident in your skill to talk, you are not gonna like you're not gonna sound confident to talk about what you do and what,
Anything else, yeah, like your
right?
technical.
Yeah. So I think that's something people often don't realize, and they expect to have like a really good English level to start applying, or to just start talking to people.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We always tell people like what you were saying, right? Like you still have to practice in your own language first how to communicate certain, like especially in engineering and design, you're going to have to explain your work to someone else, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's not just about the words in English, like the grammar or the vocabulary, but actually just practice how to talk to other engineers and practice how to explain your ideas very clearly, and then obviously the language is something you have to practice. But the education thing is super interesting because I can tell you that at Tekla we only see like maybe, you're right, like only 5% of companies that look at the degree stuff, only 5% ever tell us like, oh, we're looking for candidates that have a computer science degree from this kind of program. Like only 5% or less. So you're totally right. The education stuff has kind of taken, the formal education or academic part has taken like a back seat, I think, recently.
And even those companies, correct me if I'm wrong, like if they ask for like a degree, they most of them will say a degree in computer science or 5 years of experience in this type of thing
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Yeah,
something like that.
that happened
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
me.
there's
Uh,
still some that will require, but yeah, it's like the very very least.
yeah, I
Does
definitely,
that
remember
definitely.
that was yeah, that part was one of my main issues when I was trying to find a job in Peru, because I was coming from the business background, and trying to get into this UX work was very, very difficult at the beginning. Like, hey, you only know how to manage enterprises and all that background, but we are not sure if you know how to design. And I was like, hey, but here's my portfolio, here are my projects. I have a background in design too. And that was a huge blocker at the beginning. But now when I apply, when I started applying for companies abroad, it was like, okay, if you have more than 3 years working in UX, that's enough. I don't care what's your degree. And I just want you to hear you. How do you explain your ideas, or how did you take those decisions in your projects? And that's what most matters. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah,
that,
definitely.
Yeah. But I usually told people that ask me about that, should I go to college to get get to work for companies in the US? I always say you need to have education. It doesn't matter if it's like a college degree or some courses in other platforms. Of course, you need to study, and you need to study a lot if you want to get like a good opportunity. But it doesn't matter how you get this opportunity. So
Definitely, definitely.
mhm.
Paolo, what tips do you have for someone that's first time interviewing with a company in the US? What tip would you give that you would have liked to have yourself?
Yes, I think that it's interesting if the thing that you said before, it's good, like try to communicate better in your own language, because sometimes when someone asks about your experience, even in your language, sometimes you don't have a good timeline or a good description. It's like writing a resume or telling a story. It's something like you try to have a beginning and an end. That's important. So you should do it in your own language, in especially in English. If you can have like a text or like a guideline, bullet points, and okay, they will ask you about your experience. So have a good narrative for that. I think this is important. And of course, you have to improvise as well, because they will ask you about other stuff. and you have to be prepared to, you have to practice English in your day by day. But specifically, but this is something that you learn in the classes. About interviewing specifically, I think that having bullet points and have a good narrative is a good tip.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I think we see, right, Steph. Like, I mean, the there's a huge number of really, really great candidates for roles that don't get past the first interview because they don't have that narrative. Actually, like just what Paolo is saying, like they have the background, they have the experience, but they haven't practiced how to tell someone else what they worked on and what they built and how they built it and who they worked with, how many people on the team. Like they haven't really practiced the story of their experience, and it's hard because usually we're working. So when you show up for an interview, you've been working. You
Yeah.
haven't thought about how to tell the story of what you've been doing. But yeah, actually, like it's not a joke. Like the soft skills and the communication are like 50% of the equation, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Actually,
if
we
you add
forgot
to
to mention.
that, go ahead.
go. Yes.
No, that's I would say, but I totally forgot to mention in the end. A lot of people tell me that they would like to talk to American people, to American companies or companies from abroad, and they don't have a LinkedIn or a resume in English. I think that this is very important because
You're
companies
right.
reach out to you, but they have to understand your profile. They have to find you. If your resume is not in English, or if you don't have a second LinkedIn, a LinkedIn translated to English, they won't find you.
That's a really good
So,
point. Totally, and the keywords and everything else in between, like all the advices from recruiters. But I love what Josias mentioned before, that it's a lot about storytelling. Of course,
Yeah,
with English, but like the main skill is the storytelling part, and the English will come along.
yeah.
Well,
I was just talking to a friend, like helping him to prepare for an international interview, and I was asking him about his experience and
mhm.
how, if he had like an structure in his head about how he's going to tell his story. And I mean, you know what you have done, you know what you have worked on, but having to come up with that in an interview, which is like a lot of pressure, and you are being kind of judged, and you like you don't think clearly. If you don't have this story ready and you try to come up with that and also add English to that, it's gonna be like hopefully the person will understand you at the bare minimum.
It's a lot.
So yeah, you have to like be able to clearly articulate that at least in your native language, and after that you can like start practicing that in English. So we did like this fake interview when where I was asking him some questions and uh, making him like to formulate these answers in English. So he noticed like what like gaps he had or what words he didn't know how to explain and all of
Technical
that. And
words.
yeah, I think this helps a lot too.
Awesome. Do you guys mind if we start answering some of the questions that are from YouTube and LinkedIn, and then we can keep going
Cool.
to our questions? So here's
sure.
one from Emily. I'm gonna read it. Say Emily says, "Hi, sounds like working with people from different countries is so much fun. But was there any challenges they faced, and how did they overcome it?" It's obviously for you guys. So I'm sure you have all your teammates from the US and even from Latin America, maybe from around the world also. So yeah, please let us know, is there any challenges that you faced?
Mm,
You can
Oh,
start,
I,
Laura. I see you.
go ahead,
Loud
Laura.
is thinking.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know if it's part of our accent, but I think that the Peruvian accent may sound very happy sometimes. So there were times when I received feedback that for me it sounded very direct, but I understood at the end that it's nothing personal. It's just the way that we communicate different. It's part of our cultures. So I think that in Spanish, in Peru, we try to sound very, I don't know, like,
Friendly.
um, yeah,
Soft.
not as friendly as possible. And that's maybe not what gonna happen in a US company. But another thing that I really enjoying is that every 2 weeks we have this hour that we call happy hour between the Latam team, and so we can share experiences, what's going on in our countries, or how we are facing our different challenges in at home life. And yeah, that helped me a lot actually.
That's amazing. That's such a great idea. I mean, especially if you guys have 50 people in Latin America, it's really great to, you know, bring people together. Like, there's still going to be there's still going to be it's going to be a multicultural organization. So it's nice to get the people from Latin America together, even if there's multiple people in Peru, Brazil,
Mhm.
Argentina, Colombia. Like, get people together, you know, talk. Like, we're not going to lose our nationality and culture. It's going to be just a multicultural organization. So that's a really good idea from them. I really like that they do that.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
for
what you
sure.
were saying about like the I don't know, maybe the etiquette, like people from the US or corporate America say things and stuff like that, it's really true. Like I don't know if Paola or Jessias have a similar experience with that, but maybe in Spanish is different the way we speak, like when we are trying to communicate feedback or anything else, and it's just that it's not bad or good, it's just different. Do you have any similar experience, Paolo? You see?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a delay here. I guess. So yeah, I have the exact same experience. In Brazil, we tend to go around the subject until we like give some feedback, and um, people would go to like pull request review and say, yeah, that's not good. And I was like, wow, that's what do you mean by that? I'm terrible. And yeah, over time, I just figured that this is a cultural
It's
difference.
cultural.
Yeah, exactly. And people give feedback like openly, and they expect you to be open. So if you can't make to a meeting, you're not gonna like go around the subject. You just say, yeah, I don't want to participate in that. I have other stuff to do, and like simple things like that. But this may cause you some trouble in the beginning just to understand that. And I have worked with people from like many different countries, including like Spain, Russia, Cambodia, and all over Latin America. And people have really different cultures, different backgrounds, the way they say things, the way they uh, like approach a problem. And when you realize that you don't have to like mimic the American behavior, you just have to learn how they do and just do you.
Do you?
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes easier to work with people from different places. And Laura mentioned like this happy hour. We have something really similar, and we also have like channels in Slack, for example. We have a Spanish channel. I don't speak Spanish, but I'm there. Just just because like I can understand a little bit, so I just bring up more like cultural things like football and other questions that are like more important to us than to like Americans, for example. And Americans like to go to these channels and understand and interact and like just close this gap in culture. So I think this is a really much fun as the question stated.
What you wanted to say, Paulo? Please share with us.
No, I will only answer the same question. Yes, for me it's very fun, and I work with a lot of people from a lot of different countries. But in my day by day, my current team only has people from United States actually. But we have interchange exchanges with other teams all the time, and well, for me that's great. uh, I don't think that there is a big challenge. I was trying to think about something, but Josiah said something interesting about people being very direct, and that's right. Sometimes they are right. Like I have to drop. We are in a meeting and some message pops there like I have to drop. And in Brazil, it would sound a little strange. Like, why are you dropping a meeting in your work? Do you have something better to do? What's that? How come? And but there that's common because simply because maybe I'm very busy and this meeting is important, but I will be better. I will use my energies better somewhere else. And well, another thing is about the jokes. Sometimes the people come up with the jokes and we don't get the punchlines or the puns that they use. This is a challenge so far.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I mean, working from home, right? We're all working from home. You guys are working with companies in the U.S. that sometimes can feel a little far. How do you switch off from work, and also, uh, how do you keep that like good, yeah, work life balance working from home?
This used to be a very big challenge for me when I started working remotely. And a lot of people that I know have this problem. Like when you go out of your job, if you go to the office, you turn off your machine, you go out of the building and you are not working anymore. But when you are home, your office is 3 feet away or something. So sometimes you remember something that you were doing before, and you think, okay, let me just finish this, and
Just
it's
this.
already 10 p.m. Yes, a lot of people have this problem, and I had this problem before. I would wake up a little anxious, like I was waking up inside of the office, like no buses, no anything, but I'm inside of the office already. I felt like this in the beginning of working remotely, and but I started to, and also a lot of people wake up like 10 minutes prior to working, and I used to do this in the beginning as well, but I started to do it differently, like waking up earlier and using better my time before going to work. That's what I do nowadays. I don't go to a bus, but I don't use a bus to go to the office, but I go to walk around or I go to take some breakfast. If I have to go to the supermarket, I go. I use my mornings to do that, and that's better.
How flexible is Oak Nine, for example, or the company, yeah, where you're working at now? Like they're pretty flexible with you managing your own times. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that would be the case, or maybe you have friends that work locally? Do you feel like that's similar to what companies in Latin America are doing too, or do you feel you're getting a little more flexibility with a company, international company?
I worked in other companies that were also flexible, but they are more flexible. Like, for example, if I say I will be out for 2 hours during the afternoon, and the important thing is to communicate. If I tell them that I will be out, I have my tasks to do, I can use another time. Some people that prefer to work at night, like we have our meetings during the day, we have to participate. But if I'm coding and I'm prefer to do it another time, I do. I prefer to be less flexible with myself because it's better for my brain, like how my brain works. Like I start my 10 nowadays because it's their 8, so I start a little earlier than them. And when we start the stand-ups, I already worked a little, and I prefer like this. But yes, they are flexible. Like if I need to do something during the morning, like go out, like go to see my grandma or something during the morning and start a little later, I can do as well. Just communicate, and they are pretty flexible with that.
Who wants to go next? Laura, Josias,
Um,
Laura.
yeah, I think that that value of the time, now I feel that it's more important to be very efficiency oriented instead of working your 8 or 9 hours per day. And flexibility, that's one of the aspects um, that I must care. And another thing I consider is very important, it's to build very, very strong habits. Actually, I was reading that I think that almost 40% of the actions that you take in a day, they're actually not decisions, but they are your habits. So try to wake up very early. Try to don't check your email if you are not in your working schedule. And that's cultural, I would say, because at home, like at least we try to set our timing, and so every day after 6 p.m., no one is gonna send you messages, and you don't feel obligated to answer them. So that would never happen in here, at least in my previous experiences. I was like with my phone after 3 or 4 hours after finishing working because I was feeling like, oh no, it's an emergency. Everything is an emergency. I need to answer absolutely everything. And now I think I have a new balance between working and my personal life. That's what I care the most.
Yeah. Something Laura mentioned about having like a strong routine or habits. I think this is key for working remotely. I used to like rely on the flexibility and just work like when I wanted or when I was like feeling like it. And turns out I really like to work. So I was always doing something.
Always working.
Yeah, I was like working in the morning, afternoon, and until like 11 p.m. sometimes. So, but then I had kids, and that changed my routine. So I had to like make some decisions. So now I have a separate office in my house, and I just close the door. This is work time. And when I finish, I close my laptop. Notifications are disabled in my cell phone, and I'm not gonna think about work until tomorrow, unless, of course, there is something really urgent. But usually it's not. So I just close the door. My daughter knows that, yeah, I'm working. So um, if I like go out, she will be like right there at my door. So I need to keep this, and also having like a routine when I close my laptop and close the door and like go for a walk or something, just to um, like this commute time that you have between your office and your kitchen. You need to have at least a few minutes just to like finish your thinking process and all of that, especially in software engineering, where sometimes you're dealing with like hard problems or a bug that you couldn't solve this day. It's hard to like just not think about that. But uh, I found that if you don't like stick to that, you're gonna just mess up with everything. If you don't set clear boundaries, it's gonna be hard over the years.
Definitely,
Sounds like
definitely.
a
No,
habit.
that's yeah.
That's a summary, right?
The summary, all good habits. And I mean, for other people in your countries, like, to start with, for example, we can start with Paolo again. Like in Brazil, what would you give as an advice to people who are like we said, looking for opportunities with companies in the U.S. internationally? what is some advice that you would give them, like in terms of, even how to, tell us what you like in opportunities, because obviously you guys are all getting offers from different companies all the time, getting contacted. How do you know what's something you want to pursue? What makes a difference?
Well, I think that one thing that is interesting for me is when the time zone is not that far. For me, I know people that like to work start 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. For example, from São Paulo to California, which is like 4 or 5, depending on the time on the year. So this is something that I think that it's important, and also it's very important to get to know the people in the company, like talk technically to with them, know the business that the company has, if that's something that's interesting for you. It's not like, okay, I will get a job in a company in the United States, and this is good enough for my experience. This is good for your experience, but if you go to work with a business that you don't like, or with a technology that is too old, or something that's not interesting for you, I think that this will not be good enough. And yeah, as a tip, it's like this. I think that I always heard that it's good to know English because it's good for your career, but it was never it was never as true as it is now. It's like it was really important before, like to watch videos in English, because sometimes you look for some help in .NET or Golang or whatever language you prefer, and you only find contents in English. This
Yeah.
was really important since I started working. But to communicate in English, to speak in English in our day by day, I think that today is even more important. And a lot of people that were neglecting this, or like, I'm not interested, I don't like English, for example. Now they are interested in positions, but yes, they have to go after this and try to compensate the time that they were not studying this. I think that there are a lot of good courses nowadays. The courses are more direct and more practical, and I think that if people dedicate, they can learn a lot in few time.
Of course. And we're gonna end the live in a couple of minutes. I don't want to like keep it you guys too much longer, and that conversation has been really interesting. But yeah, we've been answering some of the questions already that the people we have been typing in the channels. But if you guys want to type any questions else, remember to subscribe. Remember to go to our channel and just let us know if you want anything else from our amazing professional remote professionals. And before that, you can start I don't know, thinking about your questions. But before that, I have one, and it's for everyone, for the three of you. And I want to ask you guys, what are like the top three things that leaders can do to actually create a good remote culture? Because all of you have been talking about your personal experience and your own things, your cultures in the company that you're working right now. But what are the top three things that leaders can do right now to actually create a good one? Because cultures are everywhere, but a good remote culture. You want to start,
Mhm.
Laura?
Uh, yeah, I think that one thing I really care is this retrospectives between the whole team. So we work under sprints, and every 2 weeks we need to find what should we stop doing, or what should we continue or keep doing. So I think that that dynamic really helps to promote to teams to work very efficiently, and also because it's an open space for everyone to share their thoughts, to share their ideas, and to start proposing things that are gonna help us to improve our products or services. And another thing is the one-to-ones. at least in my case, I have one-to-ones with my design lead every week. And usually, according to the calendar, it takes 30 minutes, but usually we talk so much and it takes 1 hour. But it's a very open space for me and for my lead to share feedback or to start proposing things that we can start implemented in the team or maybe any initiative. So you start to feel that your work is being valued, and you as a designer or from your tech role are being valued too, and you're generating value for the company. So that that's the point that I really like, that you feel what is going to be the impact of what you're doing right now. That's one important thing I would say that leads should promote.
That's awesome. Josias, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think um, one thing that leaders, uh, if you're leading a remote team with people from different countries, you need to make like you need to create this environment where people can share their ideas and they don't feel afraid to like make mistakes. I think that's really important because I am from Brazil. I'm working for a company in another country with a different culture in a language that's not my native language. So remotely, I don't know pretty much anyone from my company yet. In person, so it's already a difficult environment, and if you don't create like this environment where people can just relax and make mistakes and just compensate for them, you're gonna have people like just doing the same things all the time, just like afraid of making mistakes and being fired or something like that. So I think you have to take into account that people come from different backgrounds, they have different styles and different ways to think and speak. So if you can acknowledge that and even like value that, I think uh, you're going to create a great team and a great experience.
What about you, Paul?
Well, they said a lot of stuff that I would say, like about the
Yeah.
processes, and no, I really think that the processes are important more than micromanaging. Sometimes people think that they should micromanage, and if we are remote, the manager should be even more like a big brother, like even more all the day knowing where you are, etc. And no, the processes should be more important than that. And I think that since we are not together in the same room, we can't go out to take a coffee, we can't go out to lunch. I think that a good thing for the leader is to incentivize people to pair on their works and also to have other types of conversation. And the one-on-one that Laura commented, this is really good, and it should be more about the relationship. It should be more about knowing each other and about what the what the employee expects, how he can grow, etc. More about this than about work. So incentivize a type of a relationship that sometimes looks difficult when you are away, when you can't go out to lunch, etc., can't go out to happy hour on happy hours. So we should use these times better. Nowadays, I would say that, for example, in our stand-ups, we talk about work. This is very important that we have a short time, but sometimes we try to talk about what we are doing, about video games that we are playing, etc. And this is very good to the relationship, so we can know what each other know, what each other likes, and that's great. I
Yeah,
think this is good for
I
the relationship.
I think we have so many differences because we're multicultural. We're from different countries. We're working with companies that also have people in the U.S. and different countries. But at the end, we also have a lot of similarities. And when we talk about stuff outside of work, like Paolo was saying, even like what video games are we playing, what shows are we watching, what's going on in the world, then it's like a great way to find out that we're also similar. Like we're also have lives outside of work. We have families. We have, and so it brings a lot of people together. And something that people have been commenting on the side is, and we've been talking about it this whole time about English and communication and how important it is. So quick, yeah, exactly. Quick fire from Laura to Josias. How did you practice your English before like joining, Homelight, the company that you're at, Paolo, Josias? How did you practice your English actually? Did you take a course? Did you institute, or just, speaking with your friends?
Watching Friends.
Yeah, well, I took a course many years ago, and then I just survived by practicing. I usually hear these audiobooks. I use Audible by Amazon, so there are a lot of design books that sometimes I feel like I don't have the time to read, but I just keep listening to what while I'm cooking or while I'm cleaning my house. So it helps me a lot to try to practice my listening. Another thing is by reading blogs. I try to push this idea of never stop learning. So every time I find a new content to share, yeah, almost everything is in English. So there's nothing else to do. And yeah, I'm also practicing with friends. I mean, you're not now. We are not alone. We are now getting like or building a huge community in this tech world. So everyone, I think that it's feeling more confident to applying to these jobs. So you're not alone. You have a lot of people to practice.
So find some friends basically that are in the same space, and try to set some times to practice speaking in English, I guess. Paolo, how did you practice your English?
It's also with courses. I think that most of the time courses, but courses not any course. You must find courses where you can practice like 80% of the time, you know. And also when you are not studying English, you try to read, you try to listen to things. You have to practice because only classes don't help. They help, of course, but they won't really teach you because you teach when you try to speak something and you don't know how to speak and you find a way.
Nice. Yeah. So
Yeah,
actually practicing just this.
yeah. I mean, that feeling that you don't know the word for something, you have the same exact feeling in your native language. Sometimes you just forget a word, and it's okay. You just go around and explain some other way. So we don't have to be afraid of that. But yeah, I didn't go to an English course. So I learn more like self-studying, I guess, like watching videos and films and all that, music especially. But I think after I joined a company and started to like make some friends in other countries, I would take every opportunity I had to like for a meeting, or yeah, let's just pair program or something. Let's just talk about some other things. And I found that my vocabulary for technical stuff was good,
Was expanding.
but yeah, but for like other things, people started talking about like basketball. I had no idea how to say what I was really trying to say. I didn't have the words for that. That's my that's not my like my
Expertise.
area of
Yeah.
expertise. Yeah. So I found that and this was really difficult. First time I went to the United States, um, you just go to a place and try to order a pizza. It's hard. It's hard. So you like take every opportunity you have to talk about, reach out to people on LinkedIn or go to these mentorship platforms where you can schedule a one-on-one session with someone and just try practicing. Find a group, a community of people learning, and try to book some time with someone. It's easier than ever before to find people who speak or who are trying to learn the same language. So there are a lot of ways to practice.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think it's the best way to learn is to hear from people that are doing, whatever you're trying to do. And there's, like I said, so many thousands of people in our community who are first time interviewing with companies. So it's really amazing to hear from all of you about, what works when you're working with U.S. companies, the interview process, the English, the communication. It's been amazing to hear from actual people who are working with these companies every day. And so thanks so much for being with us today and contributing all of this insight. And obviously, there's the names of everyone: Laura Cabello from Peru, Paolo Pozo from Brazil, and Josias Schneider from Brazil as well. So please, connect on LinkedIn too. There's people that have been watching. If you have any other questions, maybe you want, Josias seems to be a mentor to many friends, so maybe he can take some more mentees. But definitely thank you, Steph.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, everyone who has been watching on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So we're gonna share the video afterwards on YouTube, and we're gonna share your LinkedIn profiles if anyone wants to connect with you guys and ask, like, from the real people, right? Like, what are the same doubts that you had at the beginning, the same fears? A lot of people are having them right now, so it's really cool to actually hear it from someone from your country, or someone from Latin America, or someone from your career expertise, like Laura from design, and Paul and Lucia from engineering programming. So yeah, thank you so much for the time, guys, and I hope we can make it another time, another version of these working with US companies directly in remote room. Thank you, everyone.
For sure. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for the space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
No
everyone.
worries.
Great.
Bye
Have a great
bye.